We call this conference Catalysing the Paradigm Shift, which covers a whole multitude of things. It means looking at new ideas and new theories and cutting-edge things in a new way. But the underlying theme is, it's not just because it's exciting and interesting to look at new things, it's how can we use this new knowledge to actually benefit mankind and benefit this planet. And what Campbell's going to do now is give us just a short talk, but do give it your 100% attention, because what he is involved with has saved many, many lives, and is going to save hundreds, if not more, if not thousands more lives. And he's going to share, I think, his story and why this is important. And I know you're all going to want more information after you listen to it. So I'm delighted, Campbell, to have you here, and over to you.
Thanks, Joe. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
I promise I will try and speak slowly. I get quite excited and being a Glaswegian, I can let my voice run away with itself. But before I do say anything about this, I would like to say a huge thanks to Joe for inviting me, and to Erwin for blessing me to come along here to talk to you about this. I hope you take something from it. Before we start, you've been through an awful lot of information today, whether you're a cosmic planet saver or a theologist or whatever you are. There's one thing you've all got in common sitting in this room. You've got a heart that pumps 96,000 times a day, keeps you all alive. And as you all know, and most of you I'm sure will know, that one of the biggest killers on the planet today is still heart disease. So, can I just ask a question? Does anyone in the room know someone personally that has either had a heart attack or stroke? You put your hands up. Quite a few, almost 50%, a bit more. Anyone in the room know someone that's actually died from a heart attack or stroke? Okay. Well, there's two things. My father, who was my adopted father, died of a heart attack. And those of you that didn't put your hands up, you now know somebody that has had a heart attack, as I had one. Okay, so you can all put your hands up. And what my motivation is in about 10 years' time, maybe less, when we ask that question again, hopefully here, no hands go up. So, the positive effects of nitric oxide therapy on the cardiovascular system using a product called Pro-Arginine Plus, more of that later. Primary purpose of what we do is to target internal anti-aging. Tell you a little bit about why and what we do, a little bit about myself, some facts about heart disease, what we use to assess your biological heart age, and reverse your heart's biological age. So a bit about me. I was born in 1957 in Laszlo. I was adopted at 8 weeks old. So because I was adopted, I had no known family history of heart disease. Although a big shock came to me in March 1983 when my 57-year-old father, who was the best thing I'd ever met in my life, brother, sister, best friend I've ever had, I was in Saudi Arabia and I got the dreaded phone call to say he passed away overnight from a coronary. I didn't know what a coronary was then. In fact, I didn't even know what a heart when I was 25. I just thought there was something there keeping me going. And then in March 2004, it was my turn. I was 46 years of age. I was sitting at the back of a meeting very similar to this in the David Lloyd Tennis Club in Glasgow, and I felt odd. No, didn't collapse, just felt this tingling grant and throat in my jaw, and I thought I'm in trouble. So I went to the hospital. They'd done all the usual tests. They confirmed within 24 hours that I had a heart attack. They said it was a mild heart attack. I thought that was strange, because that's three words that I would never use in the same sentence: mild and heart attack. So it sounds really terrible. Anyway, after 5 days, they put me on one of these treadmills, and they elevated it, and they plugged me up to these machines, and they discharged me after 5 days in hospital, and then took me back 4 weeks later, done some more tests, told me I was all right, and confined me to a lifetime of prescription drugs. I then done everything that the doctors and nurses told me to do. I started exercising, I lost a ton of weight. I was going to cardio rehab, stopped smoking, wasn't a heavy smoker, smoked a few, but wasn't heavy. And I was doing all these things that the nurses and the doctors told me to do, and I still didn't feel right. So I went private, and I found out that I was badly misdiagnosed, and in essence, I was sent home with 3 blocked arteries. 2 at 95%, 1 at 55%, and ECG tests never picked it up. So it was a shock, a big shock. 16 months later, 26th of July 2005, I had triple bypass surgery. That's not the Glasgow Royal Infirmary, that's the town hall, but I actually had my life-saving operation in the same hospital that my mother gave birth to me back in 1957, so there's a little colour for you. In 2008, I found out about L-arginine in the 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine, and I was blown away. And I was also blown away by the fact that I didn't know anything about it, because nobody in the medical profession had mentioned it. And there was this guy telling me about the 1998 Nobel Prize, and it could help my heart, blah blah, and I was very cynical, very sceptical, borderline cynical. And then in 2009, I thought, after talking to a few people, I started a voyage of discovery. Here's some facts. This is in the UK, 250,000 deaths every year, and it's the #1 killer in the UK and many countries in Europe. It's not just people like us that suffer from the illness. Ray Wilkins, footballer, dead at 61. Hugo Ekiog was early 40s when he died of a heart attack. And Messrs Graham Souness and David Ginola were a bit more fortunate. They both had triple bypass surgery to save their lives. Fit guys. It's not just athletes. Notable premature deaths from heart attack. James Gandolfini, 52, Luther Vandross, 54, John Candy, 44. This disease doesn't discriminate. And it's not just men. Women are susceptible to heart disease as well. And I found this picture of Carrie Fisher, and it says, the heart attack is a warning for women. She was age 60. Basically what happens is, for the ladies, your hormones protect you until you go through the menopause. And then you're just as much risk as what a man is of having a heart attack. And the statistic is that heart disease kills about 6 times more women globally than breast cancer. But breast cancer is very high profile, and you don't even need to tell you why. So I get that. But heart disease, warning for women as well. We're heading for a European catastrophe. We're actually heading for a global catastrophe because the statistics are horrendous. 4 million deaths a year. By 2030, almost 23.6 million people globally will die from cardiovascular disease, mainly from heart attack and stroke. What I can tell you is that the recovery rates from heart attack are much better, and stroke are much better than what they were when I was brought up as a lad. And that's because they know a lot more now about how you rehabilitate people after heart attacks and strokes. But the number of deaths and the number of people suffering heart attacks isn't getting any better, in spite of what institutions like the British Heart Foundation will tell you. The aftercare is. Source for that's the World Health Organisation, and also a study that was done by Oxford University. National catastrophe in the UK, it's currently costing around £15 billion a year on heart attacks, never mind the effect of on your personal life, what it does to you, take time off work, etc, etc. In essence, there's around 600 people dying every day in the United Kingdom from heart attacks and strokes. Obesity and diabetes, currently in the news, spiralling out of control. And in the UK, 4 million people have type 2 diabetes, and there's likely to be around 1 million more that don't know. And there's also roughly the same number that are wandering about the streets of the United Kingdom and don't know they've got hypertension or high blood pressure. For many, there are no symptoms, which is why they don't know. You can't feel heart disease. I didn't feel it. I was actually still playing five-a-side football about 3 years before it happened. I was breathless, didn't get angina. Critical information at the GP wasn't picked up by ECGs or stress tests. I've already mentioned that. And the question, I guess, is, do you know the age of your cardiovascular system as you're sat here watching this? Is it aging behind you? Is it aging ahead of you? Are you a 40-year-old with an 80-year-old heart? Well, now you can do something about it before it's too late and you become another statistic. We've got a non-invasive way to detect problems, and it's called a BPRO device. It's a watch-like device that sits on your wrist, and it actually measures the pulse wave as your blood is pumped out of the main vessel in your heart, which is your aorta. So let's look at it in a little bit more detail. A pulse wave screening measures the arterial pulse waveform. I want to tell you a wee bit about what it is, what it can tell us, and what we can do about it. When the heart pumps blood through the aorta, the largest blood vessel in the body, a pulse wave is created and it reflects back. A watch-like device fitted to your wrist detects the pulse wave and the software then measures the velocity of that wave reflecting back, and it can then aid your heart. This is a non-invasive and safe procedure. It takes less than 5 minutes, but normally we would spend a bit more time talking to you about what's going to happen, taking your blood pressure, making you relax, because this is, for many of you, new technology, but it's not. It's been around for about 10 years, hasn't it? Yeah. At the end of which the technician who does the screening will be able to provide you with a report on your cardiovascular health. Pure pulse wave form and resultant CAS, or central aortic systolic pressure, has been shown to be an important factor in relation to strokes and other cardiovascular events, more so than a simple brachial blood pressure test that is commonly used by the NHS and in GP surgeries around the world. We can test you today, you can decide what action you need to take, and furthermore we can recommend award-winning products in partnership with a company called Synergy Worldwide that may significantly reduce the risk of many cardiovascular events. So this is what's going on. The blood's pumping around your body from your heart, and it starts to create this pulse wave, and it reflects the status of the pump and the status of the arterial tree. So that's kind of what's happening. I'm sorry that the slides are a wee bit dimmer than what they normally are, but that's what's going on. But in essence, this is what a pulse wave looks like when you're about 25. A bit like that. You get a bit older, approaching 50, it starts to speed up a little bit. You can see it coming back a little bit quicker. And then when you get to your 80s, it's really coming back fairly quick. Your heart's starting to work really fast. The incidence of heart attacks as you get older, the percentage goes right up in terms of fatalities. And of course, if your heart's working harder, you're more susceptible to heart failure. So what can we do about it? There's the 3 waves, a 25-year-old, a 47-year-old and an 80-year-old. And using these products, our aim is to slow down the pulse wave and take you back to either your actual age, better that. What it can tell us is it will give us real-time blood pressure. You can see your pulse wave, which is unique to you, just like your fingerprint. No 2 pulse waves are the same. For the first time, you can know what your central aortic systolic pressure is, your CAS, and you can find out if your cardiovascular system is aging ahead of you. And you can then have a choice that we all have. You can do something about it, whether it's changing your lifestyle, changing your diet, taking supplements, going to your GP, that's entirely up to you. And this is what the device looks like. Our preferred choice for this at the moment is a device called ePro, which was developed in Singapore by a company called Healthstats. And the software produces a report which looks a bit like that. And then what it does, it plots you on a graph, and it gives you an aging for males and females. And you can see the red dot just above a kind of a blue line. It's actually a green line. But what we try and do with our products and protocols is if you're above that green line, we try and get you back either onto the green line or below it. The steps that we go through is ePro health screening, which we spend roughly 30 minutes doing that. We take your blood pressure, we calibrate the machine, we also take an oximeter reading on your fingertips, which should, for most people, be somewhere between 98 and 99%. We then share your results with you and discuss some options, and then if you want to follow what we do, we can recommend a 90-day protocol and then follow up the screenings after that and look at how your cardiovascular age is starting to improve. Now, I mentioned this at the very beginning, the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and I don't say this lightly because I'm sure all of you will feel the same way. Your heart's very special to you, and so is my heart. And I was very fortunate that I got a second chance and got the chance to come and talk to everybody here today. And it's almost, well, it's 12, 13 years after the event. So me, if I'm going to recommend something to anybody, whether it's a family member or a stranger or somebody I don't know, I want to be absolutely 100% sure that that product is fit for purpose and is going to work. So the Nobel Prize, this line-up here is basically saying that the award for the Nobel Prize, outdated thinking that nothing can be done about heart disease unless you had an operation, either a stent put in, under the surgeon's scalpel, or bypass surgery, and this outdated it. Three doctors, Ferid Murad, Robert Fouchard and Louis Naro, had discovered the atom of the cardiovascular health, a tiny molecule called nitric oxide, the precursor to which is the semi-essential amino acid L-arginine, NO as it's known by the chemists. It's produced by the body specifically to help keep arteries and veins free of the plaque that causes strokes, and to maintain normal blood pressure by relaxing the arteries, thereby regulating the rate of blood flow and preventing coronaries. Nitric oxide is the body's natural cardiovascular wonder drug. And whilst many doctors would have you believe that the number one reason for heart attacks is cholesterol, it's actually our inability to produce enough nitric oxide as we age and we can't get enough from food. Pro-arginine Plus is our preferred choice for nitric oxide therapy, and there's a number of reasons for that. Benefits: it comes in a handy serving, so you can pour it in a bottle and drink it. It's a nice taste. This is more important, each batch is tested more than 262 times for potency and purity before it arrives in you take it. The company behind this is Nature's Sunshine. They manufacture and can prove that they manufacture the cleanest health supplements on the planet. This is not a product that you go into a shop and buy and think this might work. This is nothing like an L-arginine capsule that you would buy in either Boots, Holland and Barrett, or any of the high street shops that you guys know. It contains vitamin C, which contributes to the normal functioning of the nervous and immune system. It contains vitamin K2, which contributes to normal bones and adds calcium in the bones and blood. It contains vitamin B6 and B12, which contributes to normal red blood cell formation and metabolism, and it's the only L-arginine supplement that's been in the physician's desk reference in America for 5 years running. The only one.
What's included in addition to the vitamin? What else is it?
Yeah. Funny you should ask that. It's there.
Okay.
So it comes with 5 grams of L-arginine and 200 milligrams of L-citrulline. That's the other complex ingredients that are in it, which I won't read out, but I do want to touch on these two. If you take an L-arginine supplement that you buy in the high street, in a capsule form, you take it and within half an hour it's gone. The effect of nitric oxide will disappear. With L-arginine and L-citrulline combined, that will keep the nitric oxide level, in your system working and up for up to 24 hours at a time. So it's even working when you're sleeping. And one of the recommendations that we give is if you're taking 2 sticks of this on a daily basis, you take one in the morning on an empty stomach, take one at night before you go to bed. This is the actual statement that comes from the physician's desk reference. You can see this is the latest copy. Combination of L-arginine and L-citrulline supports nitric oxide production for up to 24 hours. This proprietary formulation combines the powerful cardiovascular benefits of L-arginine with a variety of superior heart health ingredients to give your cardiovascular system optimum support. Pro-arginine Plus was formulated in collaboration with leading scientists and cardiovascular specialists who have conducted extensive research on the proper application of L-arginine in promoting heart health. Here's a testimonial, and I've screened about maybe 500 or 600 people in the last 10 years using B-Pro and putting them on Pro-arginine, and I've not had one yet where we haven't managed to reduce either their central aortic systolic pressure, which is the main purpose, and the secondary purpose is to reduce the brachial blood pressure. This guy here, Ian White, came out to see our team in Spain when we were operating in Gibraltar with this. And Ian at the time was 44, and he was worried about his health. He didn't tell us he'd just had a Bupa test, and the Bupa test had aged him at around 60 to 65, his cardiovascular system. And he was 44 years of age. We screened him, and at that time his CAS was around 139, which is the same somebody in their 60s. And what basically happened was he came back home, the doctors fast-tracked him into the cardio unit in Dumfries. They put him on the same stress test that I had, and 9 minutes into the stress test he collapsed on the treadmill. He phoned me 2 days later. I was in Spain, he was crying, telling me that he couldn't understand why he had collapsed and I'd managed to get through 2 stress tests, which I said earlier. I said 1, but I actually went through 2. and I never collapsed once. And I went through both those stress tests when I had 3 blocked arteries. And he was terrified. The doctor tried to put him on beta blockers and the usual medications for blood pressure, and he decided to start taking pro-arginine. The other thing he was doing, and if he was here he would tell you, he was actually overtraining himself, which was putting too much pressure on his heart. So he backed off, changed his diet, changed his lifestyle, changed the way he exercised, but he started taking pro-arginine. And you can see there that his blood pressure dropped in a 7-month period from 154/94 to 115/62, and his central aortic pressure dropped from 139 to 97. More impressively, 7 months later, the same guy who collapsed on a treadmill ran a half marathon in Warrington near Manchester in 1 hour and 47 minutes. And he's still alive today to tell the story, because he's still taking products. So that's just one testimonial that I wanted to share with you, in part because it shows you the 2 waves up here, and in the blue wave you can see the waves coming back quite fast because it's got that hump, and here you can see it starting to go back out to where it should be for a guy maybe in their 30s, and that's where it put him when he was 44. So that's a testimonial, but there's an added benefit. The product, because it increases the blood flow and improves oxygen in the blood, is therefore giving more healthy blood to all your vital organs. There was also another study done in America, which I have got a copy of, and it was published, and it was more about the lactic acid buildup and how it suppressed lactic acid when you were training. And basically what that means is if there's less lactic acid, you can train harder, train longer, and recover quicker. And our products have been used by Team I Am Cycling, who 2 years ago and last year, not this year, managed to get some stage finishes in the Tour de France. Ron Williams is a former world champion natural bodybuilder, and Ron's taking pro-arginine. And this girl here is in her 40s, and she's putting girls half her age to shame in the World Windsurfing Speed Record Championships. Her name's Zara Davis, and she is an ambassador for our products. We take the route of sponsoring or supporting less well-known actors, because our view is if we stick our products on somebody like David Beckham, everybody always thinks it's just about the gimmick. So we steer clear of big, well-known names and go with people like this to help validate the products. And also, as I say, as well as the heart health, you've got a fitness boost as well. So, the impact on your health from taking pro-arginine: increase your blood flow, reducing your risk and improve recovery from either heart attack, stroke, angina, erectile dysfunction, for you guys that might be worried about that. It's also a natural Viagra, a lot safer than Viagra. Raynaud's disease, poor circulation, a healthier heart means a healthier you. Nitric oxide therapy is learning how to effectively and safely help your endothelium and optimise its production of this natural cardiovascular wonder drug for improved blood flow. The slide basically means don't walk a tightrope with your heart. Use your brain and use the information that we're giving you today to find out a bit more. There's 4 or 5 of us in the room today that are all taking the products. And if you want to know any more about the products, I'm here until Monday. I'll be happy to talk to you outside the meeting. Our goal, our primary purpose, is to help people on a journey towards elite health. I've spoken to all of you in the room today about 2 specific areas, which is heart health, which is very important, and a screening device that proves what we do. But we've also got experts in the team. One of them's here with us today. She's an expert on gut health. We've got Andy, who's joined us now, and he's an expert in Tai Chi. I've got another guy in Ireland who supplies hydrogen water. And water's, you can't have any health without water. So we've pieced together a team of people who've got specific expertise in helping to achieve elite health. And we picked the company Nature Sunshine and Synergy Worldwide because they've got a product in pro-arginine that can help with heart health, and also a range of other products which we can share with you. Thanks everybody for listening. I really appreciate your attention and your time.